We're about a week and a half away from regular season football, and a team I've talked about all offseason long is New England Patriots. But you've heard too much of me talk about them, so I decided to bring on an expert in New England Patriots football field to talk some Patriots ball and see really how good they might be this season. I got my friend here, Rob, who runs a Patriots Instagram account alongside a bunch of other socials, which will be linked in this video and across my socials. Rob, thanks for joining me today, brother. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. I mean, thank you for having me.
I'm looking forward to this. We've been trying to set this thing up because I've been super high on the Patriots all off season long. I've loved the moves that they've made, whether that's in free agency and the draft. And I want to kick things off talking about your franchise quarterback in Drake Maye, who I'm sure you're super high on heading into this season. He had a really good rookie year despite some of the stats and what people will tell you. The offense around him just wasn't gelling, but he shined, in my opinion, and I think he's in for a big-time second year. My question for you is, what is Drake Maye's ceiling in your eyes? Like, I'm looking at it. Could Drake Maye be a top 10 quarterback by the end of the season? He got a veteran in Stephon Diggs, who will be his best receiver by far and probably the best one the Pats have had in a while.
My biggest thing is that, yes, yeah, we added Stephon Diggs, but he's, 31, 32 years old. You really can't rely on someone like that to just take – he may not be the top echelon of wide receiver. If he's going to be a wide receiver one, he'd probably be the lowest. He was burning Viking defenders, and he was doing his thing, but practice is not – practice. We do not know if this is the same Diggs, the same 6 1,000-yard seasons in a row before he got injured with the Texans, Diggs. I quantify that as a wide receiver one, but I also have to be real. How is his ACL holding up? And going back to Drake Maye, the reason why that's important is because outside of Stephon Diggs, there's a lot of question marks. You got Kyle Williams as a rookie. Pop Douglas, we don't know what he is. There's a lot of thoughts that he could be a special player, but we don't know. He's also 5'8". Like, what 5'8" receiver is going to be a wide receiver one? No, we don't know that. Then you had Matt Collins, who's Matt Collins when he's with the Bills, he did a hell of a job, and he also was with the Raiders with Josh McDaniels, so he's going to pick up this offense pretty easily. But how that all stems back to Drake Maye is it's a lot of what ifs. We don't know what this receiving core is going to be, so we don't know what Drake Maye's ceiling could be. I personally think he could be the best quarterback in football, but not this year, in the future. But it all depends on what they surround him with. Going back to like a coach like Mike Vrabel, who has came out and said that if there's additions to be made, they will go and make it along with Elliott Wolf. So I think by the end of the season, I know this is a long-winded answer, but it's kind of this culmination of all these things. He could be a top 15 quarterback. I'm going to be not so biased and say that that's very possible, because when you have quarterbacks like Trevor Lawrence that people regard in top 15, who's a joke of a quarterback, I think that's pretty easy to overcome.
100%. I love that answer. And I guess my question going off that is, you fully believe in Drake Maye as the franchise guy who's the quote-unquote Tom Brady successor, I would say, I'm assuming, correct?
I mean, what did he have to really go up against now up until this point? Cam Newton, who was a shell of himself, his shoulder was gone, and then Mac Jones, who I mean, he looked good in his rookie season, but you're going against one of the easiest schedules. If you go down the list of things that the teams that they went against, was a joke. So he has really not much to go up against. I think he could definitely be the franchise quarterback. It all depends on him limiting those turnovers that he's been getting lately. Stop. I mean, this is why they're comparing him to Josh Allen. Freakish arm and the ability to move like fluidly, very easily, and he could get a first. He was second in yards per carry to only Jaden Daniels. So I think he could be a franchise quarterback, but I'm also in the wait and see approach, because it's like it also depends what the front office of the Patriots do. Because we were rumored to go try to get T. Higgins, then he signed his deal. Wide receiver ones don't just fall off a tree, and I don't. That's what's going to limit him is the roster.
Yeah, and I mean, there were rumors too of Chris Godwin before he signed his max extension with the Bucks too, right? So I think
I
the
mean,
Pats surrounding
Chris Godwin took less money to stay with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think Diggs is a big time addition for Drake May compared to what they had, of course, but I also don't think that it's the peak of what New England can have around Drake May. You mentioned Mike Vrabel, though, and that's a huge culture change, shifting from Gerard Mayo after year one to Mike Vrabel, a guy who played for this franchise and is now coaching there. Talk to me about how big that could be for this franchise. I mean, to me, and you let me know, but Mike Vrabel, coach of the year, that sounds pretty good. I'm not sure about you, but a first time head coach now in New England. Obviously, he was with Tennessee, and he had raving reviews from players there. I would imagine the same over in New England.
Well, he's kind of got the best of both worlds in terms of what he gets from Gerard Mayo and like Bill Belichick. He's a very smart, intelligent. I mean, go look at what he did against Bill Belichick in that 2019 playoff game. He
Yep.
outsmarted Belichick. And then you go and look at what other aspect of his who makes him a great coach is the fact that he's a player's coach. He can relate to players. I mean, I saw a video where he was talking to one of his offensive line in the tunnel, who I believe had got injured, and he was just telling him how proud he is of him. Um, Look, coach of the year, and he did it with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback. Let's be realistic. Ryan Tannehill, Will Levis, neither one of them even have remotely close to the upside of a Drake May.
I totally agree. And that Tennessee run, I know they had King Henry and A.J. Brown. I mean, he wasn't nearly who he is now in Philly. So what Mike Vrabel was able to do there, I was shocked that Tennessee moved off him. And I was so thankful that the Pats went out and gave him an opportunity because he was not an assistant coach for the Cleveland Browns. Like, that was not how his career was supposed to end. So I'm excited to see the future of him in New England. Now, I've heard a lot of rookie hype out of New England training camp. And really, since the draft started, there's been a few rookies that have piqued my interest on this team. A few, just to mention, Chisholm, Henderson, Will Campbell. There's a bunch on this team that could break out for the Patriots this season. I want to know from you, which one are you most excited to see, and which one are you expecting to have the biggest season and impact for this franchise?
The one I'm most excited to see is honestly Efton Chisholm. This guy's can't come out of nowhere, undrafted rookie out of Western Kentucky. Well, no, not Western Kentucky. It was damn, don't quote me on. I think it was Western Kentucky where Cooper Kupp went. If I'm wrong in the comments, I apologize. He came from a small school, but like one thing is that reminds me of like a Danny Amendola. This guy is undrafted, just like Danny Amendola, made the roster, and he's fighting to get to where he is. And we saw what Danny Amendola did at the next level when he had the right quarterback in a Tom Brady. People like to compare him to Wes Welker or Julian Edelman. I look, man. I think he has the hands of a Danny Amendola. He runs a route running of Danny Amendola. It's just too many comparisons. And the guy is just fiery. You would think that like a guy of his stature. I mean, I heard the Vikings. I don't know if anybody paid attention to the Vikings announcers while they were the bias that was in the preseason game. It was nauseating, and listening to them say about how he's so small, but like he broke 4 or 5 tackles to get to the end zone. This kid is. I think he truly could be special, but we're seeing him go against 2s and 3s. I want to see what he does against the 1s. He's a guy that I am truly excited about the most. But if I'm going to say that the guy that I think is going to be the biggest contributor in terms of like what is our success, it's got to align with your blind side and the left tackle and Will
Mm-hmm.
Campbell. Greg May's a right-handed quarterback, so you need someone to protect your backside. And Will Campbell is not only a good blocker. I mean, we've heard the stories about his arms being so damn short, and I was
Ridiculous.
one of them. But the biggest thing is the guy's all heart.
Yeah.
He works hard. He shows up with his lunch pail. He doesn't have an ego. I mean, what did he say at the draft? That he's willing to die for his quarterback. I think he is really the underlying. Besides Drake May, if I had to put this is the guy that if he does his job correctly, this will be a success. It's Will Campbell.
Yeah, that draft interview, it had me ready to run through a brick wall, man. Like, he was tearing up for this franchise. And those are the types of guys that you want to lock in long term. Those are the intangibles that you might not be able to see on the field, maybe from like a skills perspective, but he's just the guy you want to have in the locker room, and especially on the offensive line. You get to anchor down your tackler or maybe a future guard, which I've heard. I'm not sure where they'll go with Will Campbell, but I expect him to have the biggest impact. And then as far as Chisholm goes, like you said, he's just a dog, man. Like, super gritty. Talked about him last week on the podcast. Super shifty, really does everything for the offense. And I agree with you, man. Like, his yards after contact, he did carry like 4 guys into the end zone. And again, it is second string guys for sure, but these are NFL caliber players, right? Like he's still balling at a pretty high level. So I'm excited to see what he can do. Now, we talked about a bunch of aspects of this team. I want to hear from you. What's your prediction for the Patriots this year? Could the Patriots win 10 plus games this season? Like, could the Patriots be a double-digit win team this year? Is that feasible for this roster, considering the schedule and maybe how light it is?
I mean, when you go and look at the schedule, it's the third easiest schedule in all of football. Go look at the numbers, crunch the numbers, however it may be. It's the third easiest schedule. You're running into teams that have like an aging quarterback like the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers. We don't know what the hell he is. You got Tua. Is he going to stay healthy? You got the Jets who got Justin Fields. I realistically think that there's enough games for us to win 10 games. Now, if I had to put my realistic expectation on it, this is coming off 4 wins. Anything more than like 6 wins is like we're popping bottles over here because it's like we're not expecting with a new OC, new DC, new head coach, new culture for all these things. Yes, it looks great on paper, but will it translate? So, being that that is what it is, I think we're going to be a 9-8. We may just miss the playoffs, but I also don't want to say that they won't do it because you got to look at this defense and the offense and just all the upgrades. I mean, this is coming from an offensive line that was one of the worst offensive lines in football. Our running back fumbled 7 times. We had the worst wide receiver core in football. The list goes on and on. I mean, I heard Dan Orlovsky say, well, the worst situation for a quarterback was Joe Burrow. And I know he was talking about elite quarterbacks, but, like, who's to say that Drake May couldn't be elite? So give Drake May the town around him, which he has now, and we'll see what he can do. That it all really rests on whether or not he can limit those turnover-worthy plays. He's a very accurate quarterback. That's a hell of an arm, and also whether or not he stays healthy. Last year, we saw that like he went down twice because he got hit in the head. One in the Jets game and one in I cannot remember. But regardless, it all hinges on whether or not Drake May's health and whether or not the players around him develop the chemistry that they need. I think personally it's going to be 9-8. I think the ceiling could be a 10-7 team.
I love it, Rob. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm looking forward to watching the Pats and seeing your content all season long. Can you let the people know where they can find you on social media?
Yes, so I run several pages. I run the House Call Sports on Instagram, but as well, if you want to get your Patriots-related content, it's going to be Patriots, but instead of the last T, it's going to be a 7. I know it's kind of weird, but that 7 symbolized that that would be the next Super Bowl, but it's been a while since we've won a Super Bowl. So, yeah, Patriots 7 with 7S at the end, and the House Call Sports.
Awesome. Again, thanks so much, Rob. I'm looking forward to the season.
Awesome.